In March 2007, I testified to the 2007 Human Services of the Subcommittee of the Ways and Means Committee. Here is that short testimony from Tyrone Waters. Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Tyrone Waters, and I am a consumer advocate of the mental health system. As well, I serve as a board member of the Board of Directors at Oregon Advocacy Center. I'd like to say that I was a patient at the Oregon State Hospital, and as such, I experienced horrific treatment and abuse by staff and by another patient who was sent to the state hospital from the Oregon Department of Corrections prison system. I was physically assaulted on Ward 48B by a male staff person, Sean Taylor, and filed an Oregon State Police report. I received injuries to my legs. As well, I also filed a grievance with the state hospital. I was also physically and sexually assaulted by Oregon State Hospital patient and Department of Corrections inmate Richard Dickey. I was refused medical care in both incidents, and staff covered it up. My mail was also withheld, and my phone privileges were taken away. These are a few incidents that occurred, as well as racial overtones, while I was at the state hospital. There were staff, however, there that were helpful to me while staying there, but let us not forget people like my dear friend Corey Dennison, a patient that was sexually assaulted by a male hospital staff and filed a grievance that was covered up by hospital staff. Most recently, there was another set of incidents involving patient Corey Dennison, who was physically assaulted on Ward 50F and received 28 stitches after having been assaulted in his eye by another patient, and then transferred to Ward 48C, where staff are not allowing him to file a police report with the state police and not responding to his filed grievances with the hospital and denying him the right to petition the courts for a habeas corpus petition and a writ of mandamus for injunctive relief against the state hospital. Over 3 weeks ago, Corey mailed correspondence addressed to myself and a separate letter mailed to Oregon State Senator Abel Gordley, my mother, none of which have been received. It is apparent that staff are withholding his mail. Shame on the legislature for allowing the sign to be displayed in front of the state hospital that reads "People helping people," when it should say "People hindering people." It is my recommendation to this legislative body to implement immediately community-based programs for conditional release and placement of patients into the community from the state hospital forensics program and wards. Let's stop the stalling on this issue, and I ask furthermore that the legislature order the superintendent at the state hospital and his subordinates to improve, increase, and implement multicultural diversity and awareness programs for patients and staff, and not a program that is just talked about by hospital officials to this legislative body, but one that is a reality and real model that we can see working in the system. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I did not sue the state of Oregon for the horrific treatment and abuse and atrocities that it caused me, but I am here before you today and on behalf of patient Corey Dennison to speak out against it. I swear under oath that my stated testimony is true and accurate to the best of my ability. Thank you for your time, and I sincerely hope you will give attention to these mentioned issues. Very respectfully submitted this 19th day of March, 2007. Sincerely, Tyrone Waters. I am continuing my education, and I am presently enrolled with the Stratford Career Institute Natural Health Consulting Program. Since I have been out of the hospital and before I went into the hospital, I have had my vehicles tampered with and my apartments and residences tampered with and items stolen out of both my vehicle and my apartments. I have also come home to find my medications tampered with and not the way I left them when I left the apartment and returned. I have also been threatened by my neighbor who has made racial slurs and has made death threats. I have filed complaints with the community development management that runs my apartment dwelling, and they have done nothing about it. I have filed several police reports against my neighbor for his intimidating behavior and harassment. I recently lost my job at Cascadia Behavioral Health Care because the Oregon State Department of Human Services said that I am not allowed to work in an unsupervised position. I had to file an appeal with regard to that decision, and it was upheld, and I am not allowed to work in an unsupervised position with Cascadia. So I lost my job and am no longer employed with them. It just goes to show how destructive the state government can be and the evils that are out there that exist and that it continues. Here is a letter written to S. Renee Mitchell, a news reporter at the Portland Oregonian newspaper. I wrote this letter to her quite some time ago, and since then she has left the Oregonian and is no longer employed there. It reads as follows. Dear Renee, per our conversation today by phone, there are a handful of tenants here at the Dawson Park Apartments who are on disability and have a mental illness. Our apartments have been entered without our permission and items removed or tampered with. We have filed police reports to no avail. The harassment continues. We have met with the manager of the building and her superior, as well as owners of the Dawson Park building. We were also represented by an attorney from Disability Rights Oregon who mediated the meeting. We met with them several weeks ago and nothing was resolved. And again, the harassment continues. I find it very odd and peculiar that 4 individuals, all receiving disability for mental illness with different diagnoses, are being harassed. We would like for this to stop. We ask for your help in publishing a story in the Oregonian about this ongoing harassment. Why is this happening to us?